Electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, commonly called eVTOLs, have spent years looking like futuristic concepts, but that is changing rapidly as several designs move beyond prototypes and into actual production, with deliveries already taking place. The surprising part is that some of these aircraft are becoming far more attainable than traditional airplanes, particularly in the personal ultralight segment. Depending on local aviation laws, certain models can be operated without holding a conventional pilot license, removing one of the biggest obstacles that has kept personal flight out of reach for many people. If owning and flying your own aircraft has always seemed impossible, the entry point may be much closer than you expect. In this video, we are looking at some of the most accessible ultralight eVTOLs available today or approaching the market. Stay until the end, because we will also uncover a remarkable Chinese aircraft that could completely reshape the idea of affordable personal flight. First on the list is an aircraft that has already taken to the skies and is even available for ordinary people to experience through paid introductory flights. The LIFT Hexa, created by LIFT Aircraft in Austin, Texas. The Hexa is particularly interesting because it transforms personal electric flight from a distant concept into something that people can actually experience without years of training or the requirements associated with a conventional aircraft, combining straightforward controls, safety-focused engineering, and an experience that feels remarkably similar to operating a giant personal drone. Designed for one occupant, the electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft uses a distinctive circular carbon fiber structure surrounding 18 separate electric motors and propellers. Working together, these propulsion units provide smooth vertical lift, stable flight, and substantial redundancy, allowing the aircraft to remain airborne even when multiple motors experience problems, which adds an important layer of reassurance for inexperienced pilots. Its lightweight but rigid airframe is designed around FAA Part 103 ultralight requirements in the United States. That means eligible operators can fly it after completing a brief 1-hour training program in permitted areas without obtaining a conventional pilot license, making personal flight considerably more accessible to enthusiasts. The flight controls are intentionally simple, centered around a 3-axis joystick, while onboard computers and a triply redundant autopilot assist with stabilization, hovering, and smooth flight management. This approach allows newcomers to become familiar with the aircraft quickly instead of dealing with the complexity normally associated with traditional aviation. Another unusual feature is its ability to operate over both land and water, thanks to buoyant floats that support water landings, while a ballistic parachute provides an additional emergency safety measure. The combination gives the Hexa a level of flexibility that is unusual among small personal aircraft. Much of its accessibility comes from distributed electric propulsion, which eliminates many mechanical components found in conventional helicopters, potentially simplifying maintenance while also producing much quieter operation. Its carbon fiber construction further reduces weight while maintaining the strength needed for short recreational and scenic flights. The Limited Founders series currently carries a price of approximately $495,000, with deliveries beginning for early private customers. However, the more accessible way to experience the aircraft today is through LIFT and OPPO's public flight program, where supervised 10 to 15-minute flights cost roughly $200 to $250 following a short training session. The Hexa is already appearing in demonstration operations and paid flight experiences at multiple locations, giving everyday visitors an opportunity to take the controls while LIFT continues developing future versions aimed at recreational flying and wider commercial applications. Another major breakthrough comes from China with the EHang EH216-S, an aircraft that represents one of the earliest practical examples of autonomous passenger-carrying electric flight. Created by Chinese technology company EHang, the EH216-S is designed to transport passengers without an onboard human pilot, introducing a completely different approach to both personal and commercial air transportation. Its multi-copter configuration places 16 electric rotors across 8 arms, generating vertical lift and precise maneuverability while allowing the aircraft to operate without a conventional runway. Because propulsion is entirely electric, the aircraft is significantly quieter than conventional helicopters and is designed for efficient short-distance operations. Inside the two-seat cabin, passengers can settle in, choose their destination through a touchscreen interface, and allow the autonomous flight system, supported by ground-based command infrastructure, to manage the journey. By removing the onboard pilot, the aircraft eliminates the need for passenger-facing pilot training and reduces the possibility of human control errors. The EH216-S is particularly well-suited to short urban transportation, sightseeing, airport connections, and island routes, where its compact footprint and vertical takeoff capability allow operations from relatively small landing areas. Its autonomous architecture incorporates redundancy across propulsion, battery systems, and flight controls, along with obstacle detection and coordinated fleet management technology designed to help multiple aircraft share the same airspace safely. Passenger comfort and simplicity are also central to the design, with large windows providing broad views, a modern cabin, and an uncomplicated boarding experience that feels closer to entering a futuristic transportation pod than climbing into a traditional aircraft. International pricing is approximately $410,000, while the domestic Chinese price is around 2.39 million Chinese yuan, equivalent to roughly $330,000. For its category, that represents compelling value because autonomous operation can substantially reduce recurring pilot and training expenses, while electric propulsion can lower energy and maintenance costs compared with conventional helicopters. Commercial progress accelerated after Chinese authorities granted the aircraft the World and Oppo's first airworthiness certification for a pilotless passenger-carrying eVTOL, paving the way for customer deliveries and real-world demonstration operations in several locations. The EH216-S is not designed to replace long-range aircraft. However, with its practical mission centered on relatively short journeys, generally under 30 kilometers. Rather than being a weakness, that limited range matches the aircraft and Oppo's intended urban and regional role and allows it to focus on the types of short trips where autonomous electric flight can make the most sense. Continuing the list, one aircraft that genuinely feels like a breakthrough for everyday aviation enthusiasts is the Pivotal Helix, created by California-based Pivotal. Unlike many eVTOL projects designed around commercial air taxi networks, the Helix was developed with private individual ownership in mind, making it one of the more approachable personal electric aircraft in its class. Its biggest innovation is the unusual tilt aircraft configuration, in which the complete fuselage changes orientation during flight to support vertical takeoff and landing instead of depending on complicated tilting rotors or moving wings. This simplifies the mechanical design, reduces the number of moving components, cuts weight, and improves efficiency while maintaining the performance needed for recreational flying. The airframe relies heavily on lightweight carbon fiber composites and uses a tandem wing configuration with 8 fixed electric propellers. A large wraparound canopy provides exceptional visibility, while the carefully arranged cockpit gives the pilot a surprisingly natural and comfortable flying position. Control is handled through an intuitive joystick and a simple digital interface, with automated functions including automatic takeoff, position holding, and radar-assisted landing, helping new pilots become comfortable much faster after completing Pivotal and Oppo's required training. Safety is built into the aircraft through triple redundant flight controls, a ballistic recovery parachute, and multiple backup systems designed to provide additional protection during flight. Another major advantage is its qualification under FAA Part 103 ultralight rules in the United States, allowing properly trained operators to fly in permitted non-congested areas without holding a conventional pilot license. That removes a significant barrier for recreational flyers who have been discouraged by traditional licensing requirements and aviation expenses. With approximately 20 minutes of flight endurance, the Helix is clearly intended for local adventures rather than long-distance travel. But its simple operation, low electric operating costs, and vertical flight capability make those short trips particularly appealing. Pricing begins at roughly $190,000, while more extensively equipped versions with options such as premium finishes, trailers, and upgraded avionics can reach approximately $260,000. Orders began arriving in early 2024, and customer deliveries are already taking place, placing the Helix among the earliest production personal eVTOLs available to private owners. Its modular construction also makes transportation much easier, since the aircraft can be broken down and carried in a trailer, allowing owners to store it at home and operate from different locations. Its limited endurance and ultralight operating restrictions prevent it from competing with conventional aircraft on long cross-country journeys. But for local recreation, the combination of vertical takeoff, low operating expenses, and an unusually direct flying experience makes the pivotal Helix a legitimate milestone in personal aviation. The next aircraft takes us into another fascinating part of the market and highlights the rapid progress Chinese manufacturers are making in personal electric flight. Developed by XPeng EH2, the XPeng X2 is a futuristic two-seat electric aircraft designed to bring urban air mobility closer to ordinary consumers without the enormous price levels associated with many experimental aircraft. A major advantage of the project is XPeng and Oppo's experience in large-scale electric vehicle manufacturing, allowing the company to apply automotive engineering and production knowledge to an aircraft platform and potentially achieve a more competitive cost structure than many Western competitors that remain focused primarily on prototypes. The X2 features an enclosed teardrop-shaped cabin surrounded by a lightweight carbon fiber composite structure, reducing mass while maintaining rigidity and aerodynamic efficiency. 8 electric motors arranged on 4 arms drive counter-rotating propellers, providing the vertical thrust needed for stable takeoff and landing. Depending on the operating mode, the aircraft can be manually controlled for a more traditional flying experience or placed into autonomous operation, allowing onboard systems to manage navigation, obstacle detection, and flight control with minimal pilot involvement. This flexibility could make the aircraft particularly attractive to people interested in personal flight but unwilling to spend years mastering conventional aviation. The X2 is primarily aimed at short urban journeys and sightseeing, with an estimated flight endurance of around 35 minutes, giving it enough time for brief transportation runs or scenic aerial trips without requiring enormous battery capacity. Its engineering also emphasizes redundancy through distributed electric propulsion, while components derived from XPeng and Oppo's automotive ecosystem could help simplify production and improve scalability. Depending on configuration and market, current estimates place the price at approximately $200,000, potentially making it one of the more attainable two-seat eVTOL concepts as XPeng EH2 works toward expanded production and regulatory approval. There are still important limitations, including restricted range, the need for suitable infrastructure, and training requirements, so it is not yet a replacement for conventional aircraft on long-distance journeys. Even so, its combination of autonomous technology, futuristic appearance, quiet electric propulsion, and zero-emission operation makes the XPeng X2 one of the more intriguing choices for buyers interested in the future of personal transportation. More importantly, it demonstrates why Chinese eVTOL manufacturers are attracting so much attention, combining ambitious technology with manufacturing strategies that could eventually bring personal flying machines closer to mainstream buyers. Next is the Skyfly Axe, developed by British company Skyfly Technologies. This compact two-seat electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft is aimed directly at private owners and recreational pilots instead of large commercial air taxi operations. Its appeal comes from a hybrid configuration that combines the convenience of vertical flight with the efficiency of a conventional airplane. 4 large propellers are driven by 8 redundant electric motors positioned at the wingtips, allowing the Axe to rise vertically, remain stationary in a hover, or operate from a runway measuring only a little more than 160 feet when one is available. Once airborne, the aircraft transitions into conventional forward flight, where its fixed wings generate most of the lift and significantly improve efficiency, speed, and range compared with rotor-only designs. That architecture makes the Axe especially suitable for practical recreational use, including weekend trips, short regional journeys, and operations from suitable private properties, while electric propulsion helps keep running costs relatively low. The cockpit provides strong visibility and straightforward controls, while the redundant motor arrangement adds another layer of safety. Because the aircraft has fixed wings, it can also glide like a light airplane if electrical power is lost, offering an important advantage over pure multicopter designs. The fully electric version is expected to cruise at approximately 100 miles per hour and cover close to 100 miles per charge, using removable lithium battery packs that can be replaced rather than requiring the entire aircraft to remain connected for every charging cycle. A hybrid range extender is also available for buyers seeking greater endurance without installing excessively large battery packs. With room for 2 adults and additional luggage, along with rapid charging capability, the Axe is designed to function as a genuine personal aircraft rather than something that requires permanent storage inside a specialized hangar. Depending on configuration and equipment, base pricing currently falls between approximately $180,000 and $295,000. That makes it particularly interesting as the company works toward potential light sport classification under evolving regulations, which could further improve accessibility for private pilots. Pre-orders are already progressing, with customer deliveries targeted for 2026 as testing and certification continue. Strong early interest reflects the aircraft and Oppo's straightforward philosophy: deliver vertical takeoff capability, efficient airplane-style cruising, redundant electric propulsion, and practical ownership without adding unnecessary complexity or an enormous price tag. The Skyfly Axe therefore represents a compelling example of how carefully considered British engineering can turn the concept of personal electric flight into something that looks increasingly realistic for everyday aviation enthusiasts. Another fascinating aircraft that embodies the idea of making personal flight both useful and enjoyable is the RYSE Recon, developed by American startup RYSE Aero Technologies. This single-seat, open-frame electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft looks more like a massive rideable drone than a conventional airplane, with the pilot positioned openly in the middle of the structure. That exposed configuration gives it a rugged, adventurous character that separates it from the enclosed cabins found on many newer eVTOLs. The Recon and Oppo's appeal comes largely from its uncomplicated design and practical engineering, which help control costs while making the aircraft particularly useful for rural and agricultural applications. Operators can use it for short trips across farms, large properties, or isolated locations without dealing with the infrastructure and preparation required by traditional aircraft. 6 independent electric motors paired with carbon fiber propellers provide lift and stability, with each propulsion unit supplied by its own removable battery. These battery packs can be exchanged within minutes, much like replacing batteries in professional power tools, allowing users to minimize downtime instead of waiting for a lengthy recharge. The Recon can operate from solid surfaces and water, supported by its robust landing gear, while dual joysticks and a simple touchscreen control system make the aircraft relatively easy to understand after basic training. Built around FAA Part 103 ultralight requirements, it can be operated by eligible pilots without a conventional pilot license in permitted areas, significantly broadening its potential audience. Weighing less than 300 pounds, the lightweight aircraft can reach approximately 63 miles per hour and provides around 20 to 25 minutes of flight endurance, translating to roughly 25 miles of range. That makes it well suited to tasks such as surveying farmland, monitoring livestock, inspecting property, or simply enjoying short recreational flights. Its independent propulsion architecture also introduces useful redundancy, while the open-frame construction reduces weight and manufacturing complexity and makes transportation much easier. At approximately $150,000, the Recon remains one of the more attainable personal eVTOLs, especially for buyers who value practical utility over luxury features. Lower complexity can also translate into simpler maintenance and reduced operating expenses compared with more sophisticated aircraft. Its limitations are clear. The exposed cockpit makes calm weather preferable, while its relatively short endurance restricts it to brief missions instead of long-distance travel. However, those compromises are closely tied to the aircraft and Oppo's affordable price, lightweight construction, and highly responsive flying experience. Another impressive contender is the Air One from Israeli startup Air, an aircraft that brings a surprising combination of speed, range, and practicality to the personal eVTOL category. Designed as a 2-seat electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft for recreation, weekend travel, and short-distance transportation, the Air One combines helicopter-style vertical capability with airplane-inspired cruising efficiency. Its 8 electric propellers, each driven by an independent motor, provide the thrust required for vertical takeoff and landing. Once airborne, the aircraft transitions into forward flight, and its 7.5-meter wings generate as much as 60% of the total lift. This wing-assisted configuration reduces the amount of energy required during cruise and gives the aircraft a major efficiency advantage over designs that depend entirely on rotors. The result is a maximum speed of approximately 155 miles per hour and a range of about 100 miles from a full charge, with flight endurance approaching 1 hour. That combination makes the Air One considerably more capable than many short-range personal multicopters while retaining a relatively straightforward operating concept. It can carry approximately 550 pounds of passengers and luggage, while its battery system can reportedly recharge from empty to full in around 1 hour. Another practical feature is the folding wing arrangement, which allows one person to reduce the aircraft and Oppo's footprint within minutes so that it can potentially be stored inside a conventional garage or transported using a trailer. Safety and simplicity are central to the design, with multiple backup systems, fly-by-intent technology that helps keep the aircraft within a defined safe operating envelope, and intuitive controls intended to reduce the workload for properly trained private pilots. Starting at approximately $150,000, the Air One emphasizes useful performance rather than expensive luxury features. That pricing strategy has generated significant interest, with more than 3,000 prospective customers reportedly on the waiting list and an order backlog valued at more than $1 billion. Its efficient wing-borne cruise, rapid charging, folding structure, and strong payload make it considerably more practical for real-world ownership than many eVTOL concepts that remain focused primarily on demonstrations. The aircraft could support recreational day trips and short regional adventures, although its electric endurance and weather sensitivity still make it better suited to relatively short missions under favorable conditions. Those limitations are reasonable compromises for an aircraft designed to remain affordable and practical. Overall, the Air One succeeds by combining speed, efficiency, useful range, and accessible pricing into one package, demonstrating how Israeli engineering can push personal electric aviation beyond simple hovering and toward genuine point-to-point travel. With production efforts expanding and customer deliveries approaching, it has become one of the more closely watched personal eVTOL projects in the market. For hobbyists who have always dreamed about owning a flying machine, the Rotor X Dragon from Arizona-based Rotor X aircraft offers something particularly appealing. This single-seat electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft focuses on the excitement of vertical flight while avoiding much of the mechanical complexity and expense associated with conventional helicopters. Its greatest advantage is accessibility, combining a lightweight ultralight structure with a kit-based approach that keeps the design relatively straightforward while still incorporating modern performance and safety equipment. The Dragon uses 8 propellers in a coaxial octocopter arrangement, each powered by an independent electric motor. This distributed propulsion setup provides considerable redundancy, allowing the aircraft to maintain controlled flight even if a small number of motors experience problems. An aluminum space frame combined with carbon fiber components keeps the structure both strong and lightweight, helping the aircraft meet FAA Part 103 ultralight requirements and allowing eligible operators to fly without a conventional pilot license in permitted locations. Control is handled through a joystick, while automated functions such as hands-free hovering, automatic takeoff and landing, and position holding make the aircraft considerably more approachable for newcomers. Safety equipment includes a ballistic parachute, reinforced landing gear, a protective cockpit cage, and warnings for low battery conditions. The Dragon can also be folded into a compact package small enough to transport in the bed of a pickup truck, eliminating the need for a dedicated hangar and making storage far more convenient for private owners. Swappable battery packs can be recharged in under 2 hours, allowing relatively quick turnaround between recreational flights. Pilots weighing up to approximately 250 pounds can reach speeds close to 60 miles per hour and expect around 20 minutes of flight time from each charge. That endurance is clearly intended for short recreational adventures rather than long-distance journeys. But the open cockpit and protective structure create an immersive experience that makes each flight feel remarkably futuristic. Pricing initially began at approximately $85,000 for early pre-order customers before rising to around $99,000 for the standard kit, keeping the Dragon among the least expensive ways to enter the personal eVTOL market. Its kit-building format also reduces costs while giving owners a direct role in assembling and understanding their aircraft, and the relatively simple mechanical architecture can help limit maintenance compared with more complicated conventional aircraft. One of the most talked about personal eVTOLs today, and a machine that continues to fuel the imagination of aviation enthusiasts worldwide, is the Jetson ONE from Swedish company Jetson. This compact, single-seat ultralight aircraft brings the idea of individual flight closer to reality in a way few other machines currently can. Its appeal comes from a combination of relatively attainable pricing, intelligent engineering, and an experience that feels like something straight out of science fiction, somewhere between a futuristic flying motorcycle and a real-world Star Wars landspeeder. Despite its dramatic appearance, the aircraft is designed to remain approachable, allowing properly trained newcomers to become familiar with its controls without facing the complexity of a conventional aircraft. The Jetson ONE uses a lightweight but robust aluminum and carbon fiber space frame that surrounds the pilot like a protective roll cage, creating an open-air experience while providing structural protection. 8 brushless electric motors driving coaxial rotors generate vertical lift and provide multiple layers of propulsion redundancy, allowing the aircraft to retain control even if several motors encounter problems. Fly-by-wire controls, a responsive joystick, and a throttle system make the aircraft feel direct and intuitive, while features such as hover assistance, radar-assisted automatic landing, and a full ballistic parachute system add further protection for both new and experienced operators. In the ultralight category, one of the Jetson ONE and Oppo's strongest qualities is its ability to combine agile performance with an engaging flying experience. Flight endurance is approximately 20 minutes per charge, while its electronically limited maximum speed reaches around 63 miles per hour. That makes it particularly well suited to short recreational flights, low-altitude adventures, and scenic trips over suitable open areas without requiring a conventional runway. The aircraft accommodates pilots weighing up to approximately 210 pounds, and its low overall weight contributes to responsive handling and efficient operation. Because it is designed around FAA Part 103 ultralight regulations in the United States, eligible operators can fly it in permitted conditions without obtaining a traditional pilot license, provided they follow applicable rules and complete appropriate training. With a current base price of $148,000, it remains among the more accessible aircraft in the emerging personal eVTOL market. Demand has been exceptionally strong, with earlier production capacity already reserved and new orders now extending toward 2028 deliveries as Jetson expands manufacturing while maintaining its quality and safety standards. Beyond its minimalist but premium construction, the Jetson ONE also benefits from quickly replaceable battery options that can reduce turnaround time between flights. More than anything, however, its greatest attraction is the sense of freedom it offers, transforming a simple weekend adventure or short personal journey into an experience that feels genuinely extraordinary. And now we come to the aircraft many people have been waiting to hear about. An exceptionally affordable personal eVTOL revealed at CES 2026 that could significantly lower the financial barrier to individual flight. The Rictor X4, developed by Chinese company Rictor, is a single-seat ultralight eVTOL designed around portability, simplicity, and modern safety technology, delivering an unexpectedly capable package at a price that stands out dramatically within the industry. Its most distinctive feature is a 4-axis configuration using 8 propellers, including large 63-inch folding carbon fiber propellers that allow the entire aircraft to collapse into a compact form. Once folded, it can be transported in the bed of a pickup truck or stored inside a typical garage, eliminating the need for a dedicated hangar or specialized storage facility. Combined with its lightweight construction, this folding architecture makes the X4 feel less like a traditional aircraft and more like a portable personal flying machine that can be transported to suitable locations before being quickly prepared for short, low-altitude flights. Power comes from a fully electric semi-solid-state dual battery system with built-in redundancy, designed to support a controlled landing if one battery module experiences a failure. Beginner-friendly controls and intelligent flight assistance further simplify the experience, while an emergency ballistic parachute provides an additional safety layer for less experienced flyers. Rather than chasing extreme range or commercial air taxi capability, the Rictor X4 concentrates on short recreational missions. It offers approximately 20 minutes of flight time per charge and can reach speeds of around 50 miles per hour, making it suitable for local adventures, property sightseeing, or short trips across nearby open areas. Its remarkable affordability comes from simplified engineering, streamlined Chinese manufacturing, and a focus on the ultralight category instead of pursuing expensive heavy aircraft certification programs. At launch, the Rictor X4 is priced at just $39,900, with a $5,000 deposit required to reserve an order, placing it among the most accessible personal eVTOLs currently announced. Deliveries are targeted to begin during the second quarter of 2026. Its compact size, portability, and relatively low entry price could open personal aircraft ownership to drone enthusiasts and aviation dreamers who previously considered it financially impossible. Its intended compliance with Part 103 ultralight rules may also allow operation in certain permitted areas without a conventional pilot license or full airworthiness certificate, depending on local regulations and the final aircraft configuration. As we reach the end of this look at some of the most exciting personal eVTOLs, one conclusion is becoming increasingly clear. Accessible individual flight is no longer just a far-off fantasy. From aircraft already reaching customers to ambitious new models breaking through long-standing price barriers, the industry is creating opportunities that would have seemed impossible only a few years ago. Regulations, training, maintenance, weather, and access to safe operating areas will always remain important considerations, but the progress is undeniable and ownership is gradually becoming more realistic for serious enthusiasts. If one of these aircraft captured your attention, this is a great time to explore the technology further, arrange a demonstration flight where available, and start imagining what your own future in personal aviation could look like. The next era of flying is already taking off. Tell us in the comments which eVTOL impressed you the most and whether you would ever consider owning one. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.